Hello class, hope everybody had a great weekend. We're going to get right into integration, finding areas today. I'm going to try and finish up this topic on integration this week. So that means I'm just going to show you all the different notes and applications you might need. And next week we'll do ACE questions pretty much every day. And as of right now, I have a test scheduled for Friday next week. Okay, that might change depending on if I'm able to get through all the ACE questions, meaning, as you know, every ACE question sort of kind of has like a little different aspect to it, so I want to be able to show you all the different types of ACE questions you might get. So as of right now, the test might be Friday. Like I said, we'll see. We might just spend all next week doing all different kinds of ACE questions, and then I'll give you all a review to do over the weekend. But like I said, we'll see how it goes, how fast we get through it, because I like to keep these videos under 10 minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do it. So we looked at this last week on Friday, finding areas, just a very basic area under a curve with limits of integration. So if you remember that, if you're okay with that, go ahead and pause it and try to work through this yourself before I go through it. Okay, find the area under the curve, 1 over x squared, between these two limits. Okay, so remember, area under a curve is found by integrating y. Area is the integration of y with respect to x, if y is in terms of x. Okay, so area under the curve then is 1 over x squared dx. Now do you remember where do we put these 2 and 5? 2 goes down here and the 5 goes up here. Okay, so it looks like that. Now before I can really integrate, I'm going to rewrite this as a negative 2. Okay, you can see that. Just x to the negative 2. Now I integrate. So remember integrating, I'm going to add 1. It's negative 1. Okay, that becomes my new exponent, and that comes out front of the x, and I divide by that. Okay, so I get x to the negative 1 over negative 1. So remember, we divide by that, and that becomes our new exponent. Remember, after you integrate, you draw a line behind your new expression with your limits. So now that means this evaluated between 2 and 5. So obviously this just means negative x to negative 1. Okay, do you remember how to evaluate? Yep, so it's this goes in minus this one. So we get negative 5 to negative 1 minus negative 2 to negative 1. Okay, a lot of negatives here, so be very careful. 5 to the negative 1, that's the same thing. Remember, negative exponent is 1 over. So negative 5 to negative 1 is the same thing as negative 1/5. Minus, and then this is the same thing, so this is negative 1/2. Oops, put my negative there. Okay. Now we have a double negative. Okay. Now if we want to, obviously we want to add these together, so you got to have a common denominator, which is going to be 10. So I multiply this one by 2, so that's negative 2/10. Multiply this one by 5, that's plus 5/10. So negative 2 plus 5 is 3 over 10. Okay, so the area under the curve between these two values is 3/10, and whatever the unit will be. Sometimes I might give it to you as a unit, sometimes they don't. Okay, so hopefully that wasn't too hard. So here's one for you to practice with. Find the area under the curve of y equals 1 over x cubed plus 2x between 1 and 4. Okay, so this is practice, so work on this. If you want me to look over it, just message to me like normal on Teams. For the rest of the week, we're going to look at some other things, so just to kind of give you an idea of where we are going. You'll be asked, so as far as like an ACE style question, you'll be asked something like this. So you'll be given one curve, which may look something like that, and then there might be another curve. Okay. So the question will be very similar to what you're doing now, but it's basically just making it a little bit longer. So it'll be something like, find the area between the two curves from 1 to 3. Okay, so that'll be a question that we'll start on, actually possibly tomorrow. So we'll look at some of these. And then the other ones will be finding how to integrate, if you remember the binomial theorem. So remember we looked at how to differentiate that. You brought n down, leave that alone, multiply by the derivative inside. So it's only natural that we learn how to integrate this. Okay, so these are the two things that's left that we have to cover. They will, most ACE questions will be about. Okay? Alright, have a great day.